Jai Hind viewers, welcome back to another panel discussion from MRO Channel Forum. The topic today is strategic impact of technology, and we have with us very eminent panelists. We have with us Lieutenant General Dr. Anil Kapoor, AVSM VSM, who served as the Director General Electronics and Mechanical Engineers and Director General Information Systems. He's a chartered engineer. He was awarded the Eminent Engineer Award 2020 by Institution of Engineers. He is a professor of practice at IIT Tirupati and also a board member in their innovation hub. He writes and speaks on emerging technologies like C7, ISR, and AI in many publications and platforms. We also have with us Major General Dr. Ashok Kumar, VSM. He is a Kargil war veteran and has operational experience both on Pakistan as well as Chinese border, including LOC and LAC. He commanded a formation in the Arunachal Pradesh where 1962 war battles were fought as well as activated during 1987. The officer is a defense and strategic analyst, senior fellow of Clause, and author of two books, China Betrays Again and Indian Churnings on the Global Stage. He is currently Director General of St. John's. Thank you very much for General Ashok for finding time from your busy schedule. My first question to the panelists is, which I will first address General Kapoor. How can organizations leverage emerging technologies to gain a competitive advantage in their respective industries? And what are the potential risks associated with adopting these technologies? Anil, please.
Uh, Thank you for that question. That's a great question to start. I think emerging technologies today is the game changer. In fact, everything hinges around technology, whether it is geopolitics or geoeconomics. And to that extent, I think globally it is realized that those who can harness technology and the power of technology actually are calling the shots. And if we look around globally, we know that industries which have technological edge have actually developed nations, and those nations have become the centers of, if I may say, global excellence for everybody to visit. Now, taking a step back, uh, when we look at an emerging technology landscape, I always say that the new tech world order is about 4 Ds: data, digitization, digitalization, and disruption. And given the speed at which disruptions are happening today, wherein if we just look at a communication space, from a telephone, which was a landline, we got into wireless, and now we have multi modes of communication. We have wireless, we have space, we have OFCs, and the like. And then we graduate to 2G, 3G, 4G. Then we found a congruence between the IPs of the computer and the communication technology, and ICT convergence happened. And today we are able to actually converse with this ICT convergence into everything that we do online. And then we have the 5G, which is the next transition, and 6G. And if we look at the complete spectrum, what stands out is 4Ds. So, really speaking, when we look at emerging technologies, we have to look at the power of understanding and comprehending technologies. And therefore, to the first part of your question, which is how do we harness this power of technology? I think the requirement is that everybody needs to be technology compliant. And let me clarify this term. So, today, whether you are a C suite, you may be a management expert, you may be a bureaucrat, you may be from the Army, Navy, Air Force, or whichever walk of life. I think enhancing your technical thresholds or technology thresholds is the first need. So industries and nations would do well to comprehend the power of technology, and especially at the senior level, it's very important because even we as engineers today, who've done our engineering in 80s, have to continuously upgrade ourselves to understand the nuances of technology of the future, because you can apply and absorb it only when you know it. So that will be the first requirement. And the second requirement, I think, if we have to leverage emerging technology, is firstly comprehending and understanding technology, and the second is upgrading not only ourselves but our infrastructure. So whichever organization you belong to, you have to look at the infrastructure, and you have to look at how do you upgrade it to make it compliant with the future needs. And again, like I said, industries build nations and nations create the global impact. So that continuum gets defined. And to the second part of your question, which is potential risks, I don't think there's ever anything in life without a risk. You and me, who have investment, even a financial investment is risk prone, and technology investment is no different. But the beauty is that if you have a very formalized process of technology forecasting, technology planning, technology development, technology obsolescence, and that is the circle. You look at obsolescence, get into forecasting in time, planning in time, and developing in time. I think you're ahead of the curve. So, really, the trick lies in staying ahead of the curve, and maybe in later discussion, I can qualify this better. But in an overall analysis, I think if we look at technology as an enabler, comprehend the gallop of technology which is today, and structure our organizations and our ecosystem at the national level, we would do well to actually harness the power and mitigate the risks of emerging technologies. So I'll sum it up like that. Back to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Anil, for that. May we have your views, General Ashok, please?
Uh, Sir, at the outset, let me thank you personally for giving this opportunity to be on this platform after such a long gap. The platform, you and the team, each facet is very dear to me, frankly speaking. While the outline approach of emerging technologies has already been said by General Kapoor, I would predominantly cover its impact in the strategic domain, where it is going to impact the defense forces and other correlated issues. There are three major disruptions which are happening in today's time. One is the geopolitical disruption, second is the geo-economic disruptions, and third is the technological disruptions. And if you really analyze them critically, you'll find it is the technological disruption which is much more difficult to handle. In fact, the technological disruption alone is even dictating the nature and the quantum of the changes in the geopolitical and geoeconomics domain to a large extent. It is not, technological disruption is not something which can be handled by the conventional approach that you forecast, create capacities, and then handle. Because the technologies don't develop in the linear manner. They have a different kind of curve, and therefore, once you want to match that, you have to have adoption of disruptive approaches. I recollect your famous statement during our association in DG Info System that we have to come out of our process fixation and give credence to the product, in our every walk of life. And taking from there, what is required? The technology is something where anybody can enter. A child, a school-going person, or anybody and everybody doesn't require, so-called technical threshold. It is so easily available, and everybody can improve that and use that also. But the organizations which have to see those things getting adopted, they will require physical structures. They will require the high quotient of skill sets being developed amongst their people. And since physical structures creation takes time, by the time they are able to handle one facet of the technological disruptions, not only the second, multiple tiers of disruptions have already moved ahead. So that remains a huge challenge for the organizations. They have to look at it only with the out of box solutions. Can you beat it? When Russia-Ukraine war started, it has already, going on since number of years. Did somebody imagine that Ukraine will be able to hold on to Russia for such a long time? No. Though there are various other factors why it is continuing, but just its capacity, a non-sea power like Ukraine was able to disrupt the fleet of Russia in the sea, and the kind of then impact it created there. Similarly, the way it used the drones and other resources, it changed the narrative to a large extent. And as we go ahead, more and more these changes are going to happen. Can you similarly, imagine as to how the Hamas has been still continuing despite the so-called destructive power of the Israel and almost the entire US-led support being at the disposal of Israel? Because they have used the technological led, and technology doesn't mean that you have to have some high-end input only. Till the time you are using some kind of technological facet to get the even low-end usable equipment to continue your effort, that is good enough, and that is what Hamas has been doing. The kind of rockets it has been using, the kind of other resources it has been using, and it has been still surviving. In the same way, I will say the Houthis, they used drones. Houthis, though they are having the support of Iran, that is a separate issue. But by themselves, they don't have that so-called technological prowess which leading countries in the world have. But still, they created drones which were effectively disrupting the ships in the Red Sea. And this single thing, changed the response of USA, NATO countries, and came up with the fresh alignments. So technology is something which is very very difficult to really predict and handle, and therefore innovative approach is something which has to be needed. Not only that, each type of disruptive technology brings in a different kind of challenge. It is not that if you have created capabilities for artificial intelligence in your organization, so you can handle all kind of niche technologies. You may have then there will be number of other things which will be either linked with the AI, or there will be more challenges coming differently. So, and each have to be handled in different ways, so that gets a cumulative impact which has to be handled differently. And though I am trying to cover the strategic and defense related issues, but what you would have seen in Russia-Ukraine war also, that it is not the national security today is not in the domain of the armed forces alone. It is a whole of a nation approach, and similar thing is needed for handling the technological disruptions, whether it is industry, whether it is academic institutions, defense forces, people, societies. Everybody has to respond to this kind of challenge to handle this kind of challenges. At times, we do think that it brings different kind of risks, disruptions, but I think it also gives you a different kind of opportunities as well. And if you see it in totality, the advantages are far more than the certain risks which are attached. In fact, when the technology led soft power disruptions are conducted by your universities, they may be more destructive, but the impact may not be that much. Like we have disruptions in our sometime back in the power grid system. We had the disruptions in the aims wherein the people had to be mobilized. We had disruptions in certain European hospitals where everything collapsed, which was automated. So, but it did not bring that kind of the international division that one thing is siding in one group and other is siding in another group. The criticisms came, comments came, and then it got subsided. But if you see where the technology is going to impact physically, like the Houthis drone attack in Red Sea, you find now the USA, Western countries on one side, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran on the other side. So the technology also affects in a different kind of thing, and therefore it has to be looked at differently to take care of that kind of challenge. That is all I have to say on this issue, sir.
Thank you very much. Ashok, you have covered a wide spectrum, and in fact, your what you said leads on to the next question, which again I will first put to Anil Kapoor. And the question is, in what ways do advancements in technology influence global geopolitical dynamics and international relations? And how should governments and policymakers respond to these changes to ensure strategic stability? Anil Kapoor, please.